back to Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard, only on the Vegas Stats and Information Network, SiriusXM Channel 204.
Thanks for checking in as we are live in Las Vegas from the South Point Sportsbook. This is going to be a lot of fun. Friend of the show, long-time casino host here in Las Vegas. I mean, the resume just keeps building. What you're looking at here is a book called Whale Hunt in the Desert. It is sensational. You're an amateur boxer. You've been here for a long, long time. The BBC
Don't
is
make
here
it sound too long now. I mean,
Hey, the BBC is here shooting a documentary on you that's going to go in front of, 5 million people in the UK,
so.
whatever.
20 million. So, yeah, no,
20 million
cool.
people, whatever it is. Yeah. And I learned on Monday, by watching you perform, you are an intentional mush. You do it on purpose, Steve.
I can't believe we're going to start the show.
Yeah, we are.
Early in the morning
Shameful,
with
disgraceful. That was a POS move that you did. I can't believe that. I knew you worked for the house. You knew what I was going to win if I had the Bucks to win the title.
I made a mistake. Here's what happened to all the listeners. My friend Pauly, I knew, had a future bet on the Milwaukee Bucks to win the NBA. I think he bet it in October, November?
October, yeah.
Okay, and what were the odds?
I got 180 and 60 to 1.
Wow. So we've been talking about it a long time, and so what would it pay if the Bucks would have won it all?
A lot of money.
Okay, tens of thousands. Let's just say that.
A new car.
So the Bucks are up 15. I'm excited for my friend. I phoned him. Oh my God!
You've been doing this for a long time, Steve.
I know. I phoned him. I'm like, man, you're looking good, brother. And then I knew I was going to get Wrath of Khan. I knew I was going to get hell for it. I mean, I couldn't believe I did it afterwards. But at the time, it felt just so right. They looked so good.
It felt right. Yeah. You believe this, bozo? Then I see him Monday. I go, were you watching the game? He's smiling. Oh, yeah, I had it on.
Wait, Monday, because I invited both of you to a house party.
I can't believe I showed up.
So,
yeah.
And you brought me a bottle of Crown. That was very cool.
That was a mistake. So they blew the lead in no time. That was the other thing. I was a couple drinks in. Apparently, I was screaming at him. I tweeted, "Walk in front of a bus." The lead was gone. The lead was gone with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. By 10 minutes left in the fourth, the lead had gone. It was they lost.
Yeah, I didn't even call him in the fourth. I called him right after halftime. That was the bad thing. Well, no, during
when
the third quarter.
It was 15. You just said it when it was
during the third quarter. And you were watching the game.
Oh, my God.
I watched the entire game. Okay. I watched the downfall, and I could just tell. And then Pauly started tweeting me 4-letter words, and it was bad.
Okay, so let's explain this then for the people. You've been on the show many, many times, but we have a new audience constantly here on VSiN, right? So again, the book, Whale Hunt in the Desert. You need your clientele to lose money, right, for you to win.
Well, yes and no.
Explain how this works.
What I am is my clients are casinos, my customers are gamblers, okay, and I'm a broker, for lack of a better term, and so in this jurisdiction, I actually hope they win at the table games, because if they win, they bet more, you play longer, hence I earn more. I'm paid on a theoretical loss, okay, but there's no doubt for my year-end bonuses and things, yes, I need losers. I mean, I need degenerate losers. But don't laugh at me. I mean, I know.
Well, imagine this racket rooting against people. It's unbelievable.
I'm not rooting. Look, I did not call to jinx my friend Pauly. I called because I generally thought the Bucks were looking good, and I just thought they could do it. So, and I was wrong.
Good read.
Yeah, were you drunk when you called him?
No, not stone sober, and I know better, so I blew it. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say, guys.
Can you tell people more about yourself, the job, and how you negotiate for and describe what a whale is? Just take it away.
I have high rollers and whales. At my level, I'm negotiating. It's not just VIP services and get me a nice room and a limo pick me up. That's important. But at my level, I have about 30 deal points that for $1 million player, it's almost like a contract that we sign between. I have to keep the casino happy and the player happy. And for $1 million player, Larry Flint, okay, can you split aces 4 times? Yes. Can you double down after a split? If you average $50,000 average bet for 4 hours, do you get $200,000 in free play? Yes. If you lose $1 million, do you get a 15% discount? Yes, if you pay in 60 days. After 60 days, it drops to 10. After 90 days, you get no discount. All those things. If you play craps, instead of double odds, can you get 3, 4, 5? If you plays roulette, instead of a double zero wheel, two greens and a single zero, it's a single zero. All those things reduce the house advantage or the household percentage.
Shopping spree?
But help the player. Of course, shopping sprees. You got to take the wife shopping so they can gamble.
Love that.
Yeah, that's all the time. Usually, $5 to 10 grand. It's not like the movies where $1 million player just comes in and bets. And then the biggest thing is limits. It's not not like TV where you can just come in and bet $100,000 a hand on one hand. And when do guys want to bet more? When they're winning. You know, say the average table is 100 to 5,000 or 500 to 10,000. I always get a call at 4 in the morning when a guy's up a couple $100,000. Oh yeah, I want to bet $25,000 a hand. Dude, not now. I wish it was like Benny in the old days. Remember the rule? Your first bet's your max. You want to bet $25,000 a hand? And I was there at the Horseshoe. This would have been like late 80s, early 90s. And that was the rule. You want to bet $50,000 a hand? That's your first bet. Not when you're kicking my ass and have my money. Okay, so that's why we have bet spreads too. On a single deck blackjack game, you can't bet $5 a hand. Why? Because it's really easy to count. If you've seen 4 aces, there are no more. So then those are more like the $100 minimum games. I mean, we're smart. You know, if you're going to play a better edge game, it's a higher limit.
What's your pitch? You do a lot of cold calling, but how do what's your pitch when you try to get a new client?
Well, usually, hey, Mitch, it's Steve Sear, you know. Hey, I know that you're a big player at Caesars. You might ask why. Look, I've been fired from every place, and I just want you to know you're getting ripped off. You know, you just lost $500,000 and you paid it. Don't be a sucker. Let me negotiate for you. If you're getting a divorce, would you go in without an attorney? You're a big player. You need a good agent. I'm the guy. And then I earn off of him. My business model is one-stop shopping. You're freezing your ass off in New York, let me put you on Norwegian Cruise Line. I earn. And I love it because it's 10 days, and how many T-shirt shops can you go to? Nobody wins on a cruise line. There I get 10% of loss, okay?
Oh, sure.
You know, you want to take the family and go to SeaWorld? Great. We'll stay at the Barona or Viejas in California. The kids can go to SeaWorld. You golf, and you gamble. You want to chase tits and ass? Ooh, the Palms. You know, so where were they?
The T word.
So I can't say the T word?
Not anymore.
Okay, breasts. Okay. You want to see breasts and rumps, you know?
Okay.
But yeah, so that's what I do. And I've been doing it for 33 years, and I love it. I'm
Some of the stories in the book about that are amazing.
Yeah, the lengths you've gone to get a player.
I'm currently barred at 4 high-limit rooms. That happens, and I was caught impersonating a room service captain, which is really funny to get a player. But
no, that's 4 rooms here in Las Vegas, or
yeah. Okay. I can't go in like MGM high limit. I can go in MGM, but not in high limit. So
you banned Caesars because you remember?
No, Caesars. I'm cool now.
Oh. You went in the dumpster. You dove in the dumpster.
That's correct. That's in the book. So you know, you need leads, and you know, I'm a kid from Kansas. I don't have any gamblers. Players are power. You know, that's what I do.
Speaking of leads, when you were at the Hilton, you would watch Glenn Ross every day,
and then I'd make my staff of 17 hosts.
Murray.
You know, there's only that's right, very good, Mitch and Murray.
See this watch?
Yeah. So you know, there's over 600 hosts in town. Half of them love me and half of them hate me. But you know, I'm not saying I'm the best casino host ever, but I'm on the all-star team. There's no doubt about that.
There's no doubt. Okay.
Humble. Yeah. How about moles and spies? How important to your job? Okay, so-and-so just came in.
Very important. You know, I need to know who's in town. Okay, my job on the phone is not to book you, just to find out, oh, Mr. X is in town, he's staying at the MGM, but the girl in VIP services, the limo driver, they have a lot of information. Okay, the girl in VIP knows who's in the penthouses, you know, if they're comped full, you know. I love stealing players when, I love telling the story at the Hard Rock, I don't know if I ever told you this, where we had Santana as the, was our house band, and other Caesars and MGM especially would call over for billbacks. That means like, you know, if you're a big player, I don't have Celine Dion, but you want to go, of course I'm going to buy you tickets. The vice presidents would call over and they would pay. So it would say, the customer's name and date of birth, so I could run a central credit. That's like a TRW, find out how big they play. And then I was the vice president, so I would go to the VIP girls and I trained them, and I would take the Santana tickets. So then what's a whale do? Oh, just like Pauly, always comes a little late, right? And they're panic, and they're girl in VIP, and I'd always spiff them $100, and they'd be like, I'm sorry, Mitch, I don't see your tickets. And they'd act like they couldn't find them. Let me call the host on duty. Then I'd come in, Mitch, forget Caesars. Come to my skybox. Remember, Caesars is paying for everything. Get him 2 bottles of Cristal. Come on, right away. Wait, would you like to meet Santana? We'd go back. I'd already have an autographed guitar for you. Take a couple of selfies. Now you're pissed off at Caesars, and you think Steve Sear is the hero, right? Hey, and then after the concert, when we have a blast, Caesars paid for everything. Hey, buddy, I got you $25,000. Do me a favor. Let's go down and just fire it up a little bit. I put that story in the book, and they still didn't change their procedures. Man, when I send a player to another event, I go with that player or send a host with them, and the host goes and picks up the tickets. So anyway, that's just a little trick that I still do.
Sure.
Okay, so Steve Sears, our guest, longtime casino host. Let me ask you this, because you're talking about big players and what it takes to actually maybe get a big comp or tickets or whatever on a big weekend here in Las Vegas, and you can take any weekend that you want, New Year's, big fight night, whatever.
Fight night are the biggest for me, or Super Bowl is the biggest for me.
Sure.
Okay.
But some of the people that you've actually kind of maybe laughed at where they think they're big players, thinking that they can come and maybe get a suite or ticket to the fight, and you're like, dude, you got to be $1 million player.
I love the VEASAN audience, and I always give out Steve at SteveSear.com or at Steve Sear Vegas. You know that, and I love you guys, and I sell books every time I'm on here. But I'll get at least 20 calls. Hey, I'm a sports bettor or poker player. Can I get some comps? No, dude. When you win at the poker table, we're just taking a 4% rake of the pot. You're winning other people's money. We don't comp sports bettors unless they're big. Okay, and we don't comp poker players, but all the time, it'd be Floyd Mayweather fight Conor McGregor, whatever, and all of a sudden they'll call and say, hey, can I get a suite? No. I mean, New Year's Eve, man, if you're not a good $25,000 player, you're getting a standard room, dude, and you're lucky you're getting a standard room. That's it. March Madness, same thing. Super Bowl Sunday, forget about it. Super Bowl is better than New Year's because New Year's, what are you doing? You're bringing the wife, and you got to go to the show and everything. Mm-hmm. Super Bowl, it's just the boys. March Madness, it's just the boys, too. But the March Madness crew, it doesn't gamble as good as Super Bowl. March Madness, they're more into the games, which is cool, and I hope they win their games, because what happens if they win a bunch of games, they take their winnings and go to the tables, and that's where I earn.
Did you see the movie The Cooler? Does that exist?
Yeah.
Is there a guy who would come in?
Okay, believe it or not, even in 2019, a lot of, especially pit bosses, even young ones, are pretty superstitious. I still put names in the cooler. I still do that. If we need a guy to lose, because maybe it's the end of the month, for our numbers and everything. The Kerry Packer story where I lost my new car. I mean, that really happened.
You won $20 million in one night.
Yeah, he killed. So I was in a bonus pool where if we hit our EBITDA, this was in the 90s, was like 62 million. And we were going into Christmas, we were like 65, 66 million. And my bonus pool, I was to get a $40,000 bonus. I ordered my new Trans Am Ram Air. From Pontiac, and I was waiting for it. It was going to be maroon. I'd put like $5,000 down. The day before New Year's Eve, Kerry Packer comes in, bets 3 hands at 50, 150,000 a hand, wins 21 million. No bonus for anybody. I had to cancel the car. I swear to God, I was so pissed off.
I'm sure.
So it happens.
He won 21 million playing blackjack in one session.
Correct, 150,000 a hand. Yeah, it was about 6 hours.
Okay, maybe a dumb question, but I'm guessing that was his biggest night ever.
For us, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. And I don't know that this happened, but after that, I know that the presidents of MGM, Baron Hilton, and Caesar's Palace met, and all of a sudden, all the casinos cut his limits back. I think they all got together and said, hey, this is too much. You can't have one whale, because believe me, if I have 10 whales, you guys, 3 or 4 are going to win, 6 or 7 are going to lose. Casino does good. You can't just have one guy. That was, Ben Affleck was like the only guy at the Hard Rock for a while that Peter Morton would let bet $25,000 a hand. He'd come in and win $400,000 or $500,000. That's too many $10 bets. You can't make it up. You're not kind of pregnant. We either got the whales or we don't. You don't pick and choose.
Well, there was nothing like him. I mean, he would tip the dealers big, win or lose. But he said if it was ever in the paper, I'm done. You're not getting any more. And then the story, of course, that night. I think it was the same night. But in any event. He bumped into a cocktail waitress, knocked over her tray of drinks, and paid off her mortgage.
That's true.
That
totally happened. Yeah, and the lounge singer, Christine Debbie, got $100,000 because I was a shift-end dude and had to count it out for her. Yeah, that's true.
Largest jackpots you've seen? Machine.
Machine largest jackpot, megabucks.
While you were working?
While I was working, like 11.3 million. That was at Caesars. And then...
and the guy got the star treatment because it's not your money.
Yeah, that's
don't
exactly
let the guy leave. That's what happened.
That. When megabucks or something hits, we brag about it, but it's the IGT company pays it. For every $100, I think this is the deal. The house gets 65%, and the megabucks gets 35%, and they put that. That's why when you see that megabuck spinning so fast, it goes up a penny for every dollar bet. And there's thousands of machines in the state of Nevada that have megabucks. So when it hits, we don't get hit with the number.
Excellent. Steve Sear, our guest, CYR, Follow the Money, Pauly and Mitch, VEASAN, NESN, Fubo, Sling. You did a homework assignment. I'm proud of you. Quick story here. The guy, I love these stories.
Oh, the one that happened last week?
Yeah, tell that story, please.
Okay, so again, we talked about limits earlier where people want higher limits when they're winning. So this was the opposite. So this guy's stuck. He's got a $50,000 credit line. He's stuck like $42,000. Calls me like 4 a.m. Says, "Hey, I want to bet more." He's on an average table, which is 500 minimum or 10,000 max. He goes, "Come on." He goes, "I'm going to go pull some more money. Let me bet 25,000." I'm like, "No, dude, you're done." Okay. So he was really upset with me. So he goes, "Forget you." He said another word, but I'm leaving. I'm never coming back. So he ends up at like 5 a.m. at the Four Queens, where the max you can bet is $2,000. And what happens? He wins $128,000. Lower limits made him more disciplined. Okay, he started with 500. He said, then he started pressing. He stopped at 2. I'm not saying he wouldn't have won more, but sometimes lower limits make it. You can't just be drunk and how much can I bet? Or have you ever been gambling and you lose 6 hands in a row and people go, "Oh, well, I'm due to win." Dude, no, you're not.
Of course.
Okay, but that's what. So lower limits, and he won $128,000. Came back, paid off the 50,000 markers, and went home with 78,000. And he could never win, so that really helped him.
Are you ever going to hear from him again?
Yeah, I lose about 25% of my database every year, believe it or not, because they're sick of gambling, they're broke, or they're sick of Steve. The third one doesn't happen often, but it happens, So I try to make fun, cool events for them all the time. That's why, I love the guys that watch VSiN because they're into sports, they're into betting, they're into that whole culture. It's so mainstream now.
Okay, so the best way to get in touch with you is the website again, or the email?
Email is steve@stevesir.com or @SteveSirVegas on Twitter. I'm on a lot, or Instagram, and I try to answer everybody, and I can't give everyone a free book. Last time it was like 114 requests, but if you have a cool question, if you're in town, man, I'd love to meet you. I love talking about the stories and everything. So, and 2 shows ago, I don't know if I told you guys, but I got a new 50 out of the show. Which on a 50, even if he wins, every time he comes in, I make $2,500. So yeah, I got a new 50 staying at
there you go.
the Palms actually last week.
Excellent.
And he's a once a month.
How's that go? I like it. They changed the high limit. They got the Chaos nightclub, good restaurants,
And you're a critic, so if you
good
say you
looking
like
skirt
that,
in there too.
oh man, well we're non-union in there, so that's because we have a management contract, and that way we love the union waitresses, but they can't cross the carpet. A management contract runs the high limit, so then we decide what girls are in the high limit.
Yeah, and you've decided well.
It's important. And Chaos was that pool. They spent $92 million on it. You guys, not $9 million, 92. I was there with 6,000 people, and it was crowded, but not like overwhelming.
Well, I saw conflicting reports about how if it.
Cardi B is there. The black girl rapper.
Yeah,
I actually liked her. I didn't.
Race
think
is
I would.
irrelevant there, but sure.
Yeah.
She what?
Did you see she had to cancel 3 shows because she had implants?
Yeah, I heard that.
And
Liposuction.
Lipo had to cancel. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Women.
All right, so here's the book again for those of you watching. It is called Whale Hunt in the Desert: Secrets of a Vegas SuperHost. Steve Sear's been doing it for a long time. We teased this many times today, so we got to pay it off coming up next. A great Michael Jordan story that you can share on the air with all of our listeners. And I love the look on your face right now.
Okay, because there's so many. Which one?
Now, race is relevant to this story.
Okay,
race is relevant.
And we'll have Steve share the stories about Michael Jordan coming up next.
Your search is over. You found Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on SiriusXM 204. Now listen up for Winformation.
We continue. Steve Sear in studio. Subject of the book.
This is funny.
Whale Hunt in the Desert. By the way, terrific read. I've read it twice. And you have like 3 different editions, I believe.
Correct, yeah.
So
as I get older and, Vegas could do no wrong, then we had a recession, and now Vegas is starting to roll again with the Knights and the Raiders, and it's exciting time to live in Las Vegas for sure.
What's the response from the audience, people when you give the talk, when you come in at Cornell? With that, and you hit them with.
I'm a 2.3 from UNLV, and you're never gonna make the kind of money I make. That's exactly how I start my lecture. My book's required reading there. I hand out my rejection letter when the 800 seniors walk into the lecture hall. Why my mother saved it would be a whole other segment. But I'm kind of proud of that. I mean, I'm a CD student, but I'm a hustler, and I made it. So I wanted to go to that hotel college because I was supposed to, graduate and run my dad's Howard Johnson in Salina, Kansas. Thank goodness I didn't, I just
You came out here, went to UNLV instead.
Correct. And my senior year, the owner of this casino, that was the only A I got in college, was Michael Gaughan, who owns South Point. He had an advanced casino class. And then he asked me to be his intern. And I was lying on the catwalks. It's a totally true story. A guy named Leo Lewis, who was his partner, was there. And back then, we didn't have the eye in the sky. We were literally lying on our stomachs with binoculars, and they had microphones coming down. I'll never forget it. A guy bought in on a dice table for $4,000, and he ran it up, and he was up about 60,000. And to me, that was $6 million. And this guy came over, and he's like, what? No, Caesars, come on, I'm going to show you my suites. I'm buying you dinner tonight. You got to move your ass over to my place. I'm like, Mr. Gahn, who's that? What's he do? Because I'd been everywhere, sportsbook, night audit, valet. And he's like, well, that's Kevin, my casino host. I go, what's his job? Well, right now his job is to get my 60,000 back. I go, I want to do what he does. Mr. Gahn
You knew right then.
Mr. Gahn called Caesars 3 days after my last final. I started as a cash host at Caesars Palace. If you bought in for $200, I was to introduce myself and invite you back to the buffet the next day. And that's how I got my first play.
Have you ever met a student who graduated from Cornell after they got into this racket and they actually did better than you?
No.
Good.
But I have two, and my book's required read at NYU too. I have a couple big gamblers from there. That's funny. They were a student, and next thing you know, I got a credit line. Yeah, I got a couple really good ones. Yeah, and that's cool.
That is cool.
And yeah, listen, I'm just, I caught you guys. I caught an industry at the exact right time, so there was some luck there. Okay, I remember when I called my mom and said, Mom, I'm going to try this casino host thing. I'm not going to go to the Marriott training program in Omaha, Nebraska for $22,000 a year. And she was upset. I was supposed to do that and then go back to Slime. And she's like, well, I hope you like Las Vegas because the only other place you can even work is New Jersey, and I know you hate the cold. I love my mom. We lost her last year, but in my career, 46 more states have gaming. The only place I can't work now, you guys, is Utah and Hawaii. That's it. So,
yeah. All right, the floor is yours.
Yep. All right, Mitch teased it. No one better at teases than Mitch, as we all know. 2 Michael Jordan stories.
Okay, you guys just love the Michael Jordan story. Okay, so I was...
it's a good story.
Michael Jordan's casino host, which was really cool. And I was like, oh my God, he gambled so much. He'd lose a couple $100,000, which is not a big number to him. But I got to play in the Michael Jordan Senior Flight School. You had to be 35 years or over. Okay, it's $15,000 a guy. First year, the company paid for it. The next 2 years, I had gotten fired, so I paid for it. And it's not funny. It's kind of funny. But anyway, so $15,000 times 80 guys, $1.4 million. Michael takes the $1 million, the other $400,000 goes to the coaches. I mean, you go through a mock draft. I got drafted by a guy named Mike Krzyzewski. My assistant coach was Dean Smith.
What?
Really happened, yep. 8 teams of 10, you platoon, 5 and 5. So you have a 1 day, you have real NBA trainers, real NBA referees. You get swag bag, bed check at 5:15 a.m. It's so funny. I mean, they treat us just like we were a real NBA camp. You could bring like 4 guests. So my mom and dad got to come. We had breakfast every morning with Roy Williams, But Krzyzewski was my coach. Man, if you didn't set a screen right, he would bitch at you. It was really cool. So Michael Jordan's on your team for 1 quarter, and then on the opposing team 1 quarter, and he'd rotate in. So you played 10-minute quarters. And I was a young guy at 35. A lot of guys in their 50s and 60s. I got a lot of good players. It was great networking for me. So on the third day, because I was talking a lot of trash in front of everybody, we would like shoot free throws for $100 a free throw. Michael Jordan said, Sear, let's play one-on-one. We played to 6. Okay. So I hit like a bank 3. Okay, but he could not jam. He could not drive in and jam.
There were rules.
Okay, whatever. There were rules, right? He blocked like 3 of my shots. Anyway, I don't know if he's just messing around, but all of a sudden it's 4-4. Okay, like next shot I win. I miss a shot. Oh, and when it goes up and I have video. Okay, back then video, but I can convert it to DVD. He's like, no, and I missed a shot. Then he goes up, does a little spin move, boom, and for anybody, goes, sit your white ass down. And that was worth $15,000 right there. And I have that on tape. I show it to people I hate. Here, watch this.
You have the tape of him saying that to you.
I do, absolutely. Oh, he says it loud to the whole crowd. Sit your white ass down. Yeah, it's really cool. And he's a great guy, by the way.
That would have been nice to have.
Sounds
today.
like it. Yeah.
On the air.
Okay,
That would have been
I'll get it. Well, it's on VHS, so we need to convert it because no one. It's on VHS, so we need to convert VHS to DVD. So you got to help me do that.
What's the other story?
Okay.
There was a look on your face.
Well, it is. When you said that earlier, like, because I try to be careful on my Michael Jordan story because he's really good to me. Okay, so one day he's playing, down a few $100,000, up a few $100,000, going back and forth. And anyway, and I was just like doing my job, I thought. So a lot of times, like, if you win a jackpot, of course, it's reported to the IRS, anything over $1,200. For our listeners, it's just federal law. So let's say you had a jackpot for 10 grand. Well, you're going to get taxed on it. So if you lose and you have markers, I want you to show those markers to offset it. Yeah, I won 10 grand, but I lost 7 back, so I only was net 3. You know, a lot of people you can now claim gambling as a hobby or a second job and write off your airfare and all that. So I'm just doing my job. So I have Michael's airfare, you know, for like $1,400, and he had some markers for like $16,000, and he just won like $168,000. And I'm like, oh, hey, MJ, I'm going to go back and
Hey, MJ.
Why is that funny?
It is.
Okay, all right.
Hey,
all right.
MJ.
Hey, Mr. Jordan, I'm going to get copies of your airfare and your markers so, you know, you can help offset that, you know, the $168,000, because when you cash out, we have to do a currency transaction report. And he looked at me and he goes, Sir, that's a miscellaneous number to me. I do not give a shit about $168,000. And then it really put me in my place. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. You know, anyway, so that was my just kind of funny Michael Jordan story.
Why would I care? Why would I care about that?
Yeah. It's nothing. Good. It's just $168,000. So yeah.
Well, you're right. That's nothing to him. You're right.
But good tipper, though.
Yes. Is it?
Yeah. I don't know where
Tiger
the
Woods. Tiger Woods terrible.
I don't know a lot about Tiger Woods.
Name names right now.
I Stiff and Pippen. Unbelievable.
Well,
I mean, 8 guys, golf clubs, everything, and 0. I mean, I came out of my pocket for $40. I felt bad. Michael was always, you know, seen out to the driver that picked him at the airport.
Oh, there you go.
100 here. Yeah.
Affleck, very good. You said
Affleck, too good, way
too good.
and
too good.
And at that point, no, not too good, but at that point, his lady friend, that I don't want to say names, Jennifer Lopez, made him pull the tips back. Yeah, and that was sad.
What was the story we were told? Guy went and gave him $100,000 because he got him a fanny pack.
I haven't heard that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted...
Friend of a friend. He worked at the Hard Rock.
He needed somebody at the Hard Rock to go make a run for him, and that was his... gave him 6 figures.
A friend. They
Are you talking about Ben?
Yeah.
Ben did, yeah.
I know one time that he took the limo to In-N-Out Burger, this is true, and bought like $500 worth of burgers and came back and gave them to all the dealers in the pit. That was cool, because I got one of them.
Class act.
Yeah.
Around in
that's
Boston,
cool.
they love Affleck. How about the Dan Bilzerian story? Now, Dan Bilzerian is the...
we call him Blitz, by the way.
Right.
He's
Blitz,
cool.
okay.
He's a big
famous
poker
man on
player.
Instagram.
Most interesting man.
Most interesting man on Instagram.
Yeah, millions follow him.
Oh, God.
Oh, it's up to... I'll check right now. I think it's up to like 30, 40 million.
Would you ever want him on the show?
Jesus! Come on.
I'll take him
This
over
guy.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I would rather have him on than Michael Jordan.
I can text him after the show.
Yeah, you've been saying that for 4 years.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah, sure.
All right, so if I get Blitz to come on your show, what do I get? Come on.
What do you want?
I don't know, but let's think of something cool. I don't know, my own half-hour show someday on VSiN, something. We'll
that's
negotiate.
not my call.
We'll
He's got
negotiate.
27.1 million followers.
How many?
27.1.
Holy cow. Okay.
I'll give you Crown Roll, 2 a week for as long as you want. And then I'll take you to dinner anywhere you can.
All right, no, that's it. You guys
What's
take me to
the race
Michael's.
story? What was the Bilzerian? Because he's got stupid money.
Oh,
you can't even count
yeah,
his
no,
money.
that
Race
happened.
story.
Okay, I forgot. Okay, so I had a little podcast, Inside Sin City radio show. So we're at a bar. It's like PT's Pub. This is a few years ago. And this guy, Bilzerian, has an American Shelby Cobra. Okay, and I guess one of his best friends, who was a gambler that I was trying to get, had a brand new, not Ferrari, but Italian something. And so we're out there, and they're talking about whose car is faster than the quarter mile. And the Italian car should win, but remember, the Shelby was aluminum, okay, and had a big engine. And so they're going back and forth. So Blitz says, I'll tell you what, I bet you for $10,000 that I can beat you in a quarter mile. And they go, well, how are we going to mark it off? And Blitz goes, I'll rent out the Las Vegas Speedway and, the huge speedway that seats 100,000 people. And so cut to the chase, and then I'll tell you what the number was, because I held the number. I was like the white boy everybody trusted, I guess. And he rented out the speedway, and there's like 13 people at the speedway. It was kind of eerie but cool. And they were going to race best 2 out of 3, and they'd set up a quarter mile. I had $330,000 on a desk. 300's not that big. It's a brick. But anyway, they'd bet $330,000, and at that time, Blitz was dating the playmate Jessa Hinton, I think was her name.
Correct.
Okay. And, beautiful girl, probably about 120, 125 pounds, but big girl, amazing. So right before the race, the Italian guy messed up, in my opinion, because it's about weight. He's like, I'll even beat you. And I could tell, like, he was trying to flirt with that. I'll even beat you with your beautiful playmate. So she puts on a helmet, another 130 pounds, gets in the car. And the other thing, it wasn't a race who crossed the finish line first. It was a race from light to light. So when you cross. So in other words, when the lights were going down and it was green, the Italian guy just took off. Blitz, I don't know how you power brake, but he stood there and really just, and then let her go, and he beat him.
He caught him?
He beat, no, and again, it's timed.
Yeah.
It's not who crosses the line first. It's when, unless we both would leave exactly the same second. He won 2 out of 3 and won the $330,000. The Cobra beat him both times.
The guy was livid.
Oh man, unbelievably pissed. Yeah. Well,
They'll bet on anything. He did a bike from Las Vegas to Los Angeles
in 48 hours.
That's true. Now I don't know if he ever attempted or did that.
Yeah, he did it.
Yeah,
he had a police escort.
He had like a camera crew and drones that were filming the entire thing.
Oh my! Is that on YouTube or anything?
Oh yeah, how about
you can
that
find that.
The guy who made the sex tape with Paris Hilton, Rick Solomon, he goes, "If you die, I get your jet." He goes, "Okay." That's the stuff they're talking about.
Yeah, I've handled Rick before gambling. That's a long story. But
Get that one off the air.
He's an orangutan.
Is that a term of endearment? Apparently not.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. All right,
and that's how I became famous.
Plug anything you want. Thanks for coming.
No, at Steve, CYR Vegas, Instagram, Twitter. I try to answer every question. Steve at stevesir.com. Again, I'll try to get to you. If you come to Vegas, would love to meet you. And I'm going to get Blitz on the show. And then you guys got to take me to Michael's, which is one of the coolest places in town.
Of course.
I'll take you twice.
Yeah.
Blitz on.
Get him in studio. Yeah, that's what you want?
That's what I want.
Jot it down.
Okay. All right.
It's a promise.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
I love
pal.
it.
We appreciate it. Steve Sear. And there you go with the book. BBC's here shooting a documentary on him as well. Man, he's Mr. Las Vegas. Now, up next, Nick Bogdanovich is going to join us from William Hill Sportsbooks. Are they getting killed by bettors in Major League Baseball? We'll ask him coming up.